Hi everyone, this is Data-620 Web Analytics Project 1. It's about network analysis and centrality measures. The project group includes Farhad Akbar, Adam Douglas, and myself, Samik Ghosh. For this first project, we have been asked to identify and load a network dataset that has some categorical information available for each node. And for each of these nodes in the dataset, we're supposed to calculate the degree centrality and eigenvector centrality, and compare our centrality measures across the categorical groups. So for this project, we picked up a dataset called Political Blogosphere Network. And the dataset comprises of the network of political blogs that was first analyzed in the paper Political Blogosphere and the 2004 US election by Leda A. Adamic and Natalie Clance in Proceedings of the World Wide Web 2005 workshop on the web blogging ecosystem. This dataset was collected before 2004 American presidential election, and it records hyperlinks connecting political blogs to one another. And these blogs have been manually labeled. Each node has a attribute called value, which can have values like 0 or 1. 0 being representative of a left or liberal view captured in that specific blog post, and 1 kind of represents right or conservative view. Um, the data on this political leaning comes from blog directories as indicated, and some blogs are labeled manually based on the incoming and outgoing links and the posts around the time of 2004 presidential election. And the links were automatically extracted from a crawl of the front page of the blog. The objective of this project for us was to be able to answer some of the questions like which category is more represented in the data. In other words, is the data balanced or does it have any implicit bias in terms of more towards liberal or more towards conservative view, um, and which websites or platforms are the major sources of these blog posts, which nodes have a higher incoming degree centrality by category, in other words, which ones are more popular, therefore quoted more, which nodes in each category have higher degree centrality from the opposite category, in other words, a liberal blog quoting a conservative blog or vice versa. Most popular platforms also by category, we wanted to find out most influential nodes by category, um, and then which node has the highest out degree, or in other words more prolific in linking to other blocks, and any interesting subnetworks that we may discover as we go along the way. We imported all the Python packages, primarily it's NetworkX along with PyVis to visualize the graph, and we used a couple of Python packages like Matplotlib and Seaborn for some of the visualization that we have done. So the dataset is called polblogs.gml, and we loaded that into a graph object of NetworkX, and the summary info about the graph shows that it's a multi-die graph, and it has roughly 1490 nodes, and total number of ages is roughly 19,000, with an average in and out degree of 12.8121. So just to get started with the dataset, we printed first 10 nodes in the graph, and it kind of shows the label of the blog post, as well as the value attribute that I talked about, and the source attribute that captures the platform, blog platform, where it has been referenced. And we also, just to add some color to this analysis. We added a color attribute to each and every node. Blue was the color used to represent the liberal political view, whereas red was the representative of the conservative view in our graph. Moving on, we used PyVis to visualize the graph, and with the color coding, this is how the graph shows up. So you can see the cluster of red nodes here and a cluster of blue nodes, which are kind of diametrically opposite to each other, but within the blue node there are some red node which we can see, which probably represents that they have been referenced by, even though some of the conservative blog posts were referenced by the liberal posts. So we'll continue to explore on the data. So let's move on. We wanted to look at the distribution of political views in the dataset. So we did a quick count by category attribute, and we found the data to be more or less balanced, with a slightly higher number of posts towards the liberal side, but mostly we found the data to be more or less balanced. And then we tried to do a quick analysis on the popular sources for this blog post, and we did a quick analysis, and it looks like we plotted the top 10 sources for political blogs dataset, and Blogorama turned out to be one of the most popular platforms. And then we moved ahead with the neighbor analysis and the centrality analysis that we wanted to do. So centrality is the measure of closeness of a node to the centers of high activity in the network, and it implies the structural importance of the node in the network. And there are three ways typically centrality can be measured: through degree, closeness, and betweenness centrality. So we also wanted to quickly check which node has the highest number of neighbors, or in terms of the most connected blog post in terms of its outbound or inbound references or edges. So we found that blog4bush.com, that has 256 neighbors. So this being the highest referenced blog post in our network. Then we went ahead with calculating the degree centrality and kind of listing the top 10 blog post which has the highest degree centrality. So the degree is really a direct count of the number of connections a node has to other nodes. A higher degree value compared to peers denotes higher influence of a particular node in the network. And the degree centrality values are normalized by dividing by the maximum possible degree in a simple graph n minus 1, where n is the total number of nodes. So with that analysis, we found that blog4bush.com has the highest degree centrality, which is kind of in sync with our observation of that blog post having the highest number of neighbors. And then we moved ahead with an analysis of in and out. Sorry, let me scroll down. With a view of in and out degree centrality of blog post to identify importance or relevance of specific posts within the community, blogging community. So the in degree centrality. So blog posts with high in degree centrality gain attention to their posts amongst the community of bloggers who participate in the conversation. So in degree centrality, it captures the bloggers community's level of engagement or attention to specific blog post, and those with high in degree centrality scores can be thought of as conversational hubs, since other bloggers have mentioned or provided citation for their posts. So therefore this is an indication of the cascade of information flow indicated by a blog post node in our case. So we see that dailykos.com, that has the highest in degree centrality. Then we moved on with the out degree centrality. So out degree centrality captures the outreach of a blog post to the bloggers community, and a highest out degree centrality value indicates that a blogger is aiming to reach bloggers' attention by mentioning or replying to their posts. And out degree centrality then captures the level of engagement a blogger initiated through a specific post with other members of the community. And we found out that blog4boost.com has the highest out degree centrality in our network. So next we moved ahead with eigenvector centrality. So like degree centrality, eigenvector or eigencentrality measures a node's influence based on the number of links it has to other nodes in the network. And eigencentrality, it also takes a step forward by taking into account how well connected a node is and how many links their connections have, and so on throughout the network. So by calculating these extended connections to a node, eigencentrality can identify nodes with influence over the whole network and not just those directly connected to it. So we see that dailyKOS.com has the highest eigencentrality. So it's interesting to find that in degree and eigencentrality, it has kind of the similar lineup when we look at the output. And then closeness centrality, we also calculated closeness centrality, which typically indicates how close a node is to all the other nodes in the network, and it is calculated as the average of the shortest path length from the node to every other node in the network. So dailyKOS.com seems to have the highest closeness centrality or maximum closeness centrality as well. Then we kind of summarized all these types of centrality that we computed for each one of the blog posts or blog sites. We combined that in a central data frame, and in order to get the top 10 rank, we kind of did the sorting based on degree centrality. And as mentioned earlier, blog4boost.com and dailyKOS, they kind of tops the chart in this ranking. So then we moved ahead and we kind of divided our network into subgraphs for liberal and conservative blog posts. So we created two separate subgraphs, one for liberal, one for conservative, and we kind of looked at the popular platforms in both the categories. So for the liberal blog posts, it seems like Bloggerama and Lefty Directory, they kind of top the chart in terms of most popular liberal blog sites. And then on the conservative side, it's we can see that Bloggerama kind of tops the chart there as well, which kind of indicates Bloggerama is a blog site that holds both kinds of political views, with its bloggers having a distributed community. So Bloggerama showed up as one of the most popular blog sites in both the categories, leading the chart there. And then we also did a quick calculation of closeness centrality, both for liberal, where dailyKOS.com kind of topped the chart. We also did that for conservative, and drudgereport.com kind of topped the chart in terms of the highest closeness closeness centrality in both the categories. So we did a quick histogram of the liberal and conservative centrality measures, which looks like this. And then we went ahead and did a focused analysis. So just to reduce the network a little bit further, for more prominent blogs, we filtered out the blogs which have less than 12 links either in and out from them, to or from them. And after filtering, we landed with 665 blog posts and 16,914 links between them, with a rough 25 being the kind of the average in and out degree measures. And then we use ByVis again to plot those prominent blog sites, and this is how that chart looks like. And you can see some of these red bubbles which are the conservative views, which has references, inward references from other liberal views or liberal block sites, which is kind of interesting if you think about it. So based on the above focused analysis with more prominent blog post, we observed that some of the conservative blogs, as I mentioned, and I think windingroad.typepad.com was one of the examples where we saw, even though it's a conservative blog post, but it has a lot of inward references from other liberal blog posts. So that's pretty much what we have. Thank you so much. Bye bye.